Dame Agatha Maria Clarissa Christie, known as Agatha Christie, was born on 15 September 1890 in Torquay, England. She became one of the world's best-selling novelists, often dubbed the Queen of Crime. Her work spanned detective novels, short story collections, and plays, most famously featured characters such as Hercule, Poirot, and Miss Jane Marple. She was the youngest of three children, born to Frederick Alva Miller and Clara Bohemer. Her siblings were Margaret and Louis Montant. The family lived in a large villa called Ashfield in Turkey, with a spacious garden and seaside proximity. Christie later reflected fondly on this home as the setting of her childhood memories. She was largely educated at home by her mother. From childhood, she made up stories, played imaginative games, and displayed creative inclination. When she was around 5 and 6 years old, the family's financial circumstances led them to spend time in hotels in France, Paris, Brittany. This experience enriched her childhood landscape. The mix of leisure, seaside, resort life in Turkey, travel, and imaginative play thus formed the backdrop of her early years, backgrounds she would draw upon later in her fictions.
Academic formation. Agatha Christie did not follow a traditional school path. She was homeschooled, and her education focused on reading, imagination, and the arts. This allowed her creativity to grow in ways a normal classroom might not have encouraged. As a teenager, she studied music in Paris, learning piano and singing. Although she did not become a professional musician, this training helped her develop discipline and attention to detail skills that later helped her as a writer. Christie also learned a great deal on her own through independent reading, exploring adventure stories, detective tales, and classic literature. One of the most important parts of her education came during World War I, when she trained as a pharmacy assistant. This scientific knowledge, especially about medicines and poisons, became essential in many of her detective novels. Her education was unique but powerful. Through home, learning, artistic study, personal reading, and scientific training.
She was influenced by several key experiences and writers through her life. One of her biggest influences was her early love of books. As a child, she read a lot of mystery and adventure stories, especially those by Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. His detective stories inspired her to create her own logical and intelligent detective characters like Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. Another important influence came from her background in medicine. During the World War I, she worked as a nurse and pharmacist, which gave her deep knowledge of poisons. That's why many of her stories use poison as a murdering weapon. It added realism and scientific detail to her mysteries. Her travels also inspired her writing. Christie spent time in the Middle East visiting places like Egypt, Iraq, and Syria with her archaeologist husband. The exotic settings of novels such as Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile came directly from those experiences. Christie was influenced by human psychology. She was fascinated by how people think and why they commit crimes. That interest made her stories more than simple mysteries. They became studies of human nature. She was also influenced by her surroundings and everyday life. Ordinary people, small towns, and social events often inspire her stories. She had a special talent for turning simple situations into clever and surprising mysteries.
Life was not always easy for the writer who will become the Queen of Mystery. From rejection to heartbreak, she faced many challenges that test her strength and determination. In the beginning, her books were turned down by several publishers, but she never lost hope and eventually published The Mysterious Affair as told. During World War I, she worked as a nurse in a pharmacy, learning about medicines and potions that would later appear in her stories. In 1926, the loss of her mother and the end of the marriage caused her great emotional pain. Yet, she found a way to recover and continued to write. As a woman writer in a world led by men, she had to fight for recognition and respect. Even after gaining fame, she faced the pressure to keep her readers' interest. But her love for storytelling always kept her going.
Her awards and achievements. The best-selling fiction author of all time reached the peak of her career after her divorce in 1928, entering a remarkably productive period during which she wrote many of her most iconic works. She created unforgettable characters and published 66 detective novels, including The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Death on the Nile, and Then There Were None, the best-selling mystery novel in history. Her play The Mousetrap, which debuted in 1952, holds the world record as the longest-running theatrical production. Christie's achievements earned her major recognition. She was the first recipient of the Mystery Writers of America's Grandmaster Award in 1955, and in 1971, Queen Elizabeth II personally appointed her as a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, officially honoring her as the Queen of Crime. By the time of her death, her books had sold more than 2 billion copies and had been translated into over 100 languages, securing her legacy as the most translated and most successful novelist in history.
It's important to reflect on what remains after all her achievements, the lasting impact she left behind. Agatha Christie didn't just write stories to entertain, she built a world of mystery that continues to inspire curiosity and imagination. Her work went far beyond the pages of her books. It touched people's minds, changed the way readers think, and made mystery one of the most loved genres in the world. Even today, Agatha Christie's legacy is still everywhere. It's amazing how her influence continued to shape the world of mystery and detective fiction. The techniques she used, the careful clues, the psychological tension, and the unexpected ending became a model for so many writers and filmmakers who came after her. When you read or watch modern mystery, you can often feel her presence. The clever detective, the small details that suddenly make sense, that final twist that makes you say, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." All of that comes from her style. Her books are still among the best-selling in history. A new generation keep discovering them. Movies, TV shows, and theater plays continue to bring her story to life, providing that good storytelling never gets old. Characters like Hercule's Poirot and Miss Marple have become cultural icons. But beyond her success, her truly legacy is the inspiration she gave to others. She showed that imagination has no limits and that even ordinary moments can hide extraordinary secrets. She made us curious, she made us think, she reminded us that the truth is always there, and that's what made Agatha Christie timeless. Her story might end, but her influence never will.